Okay, so you're ready to dive in.
Always.
Awesome. Today we're looking at some excerpts from pasted text, all about, well, about musical nationalism. It's really pretty cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Composers use folk music to sort of like build a national identity.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about people like Dojak and Smetana, Sibelius.
Oh, yeah, all the greats.
Right. So this is where music, at least for me, this is where it gets really, really fascinating. You know, you've got culture, you've got politics all colliding.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I think what's really interesting here is that, it's not like these composers were just taking like folk tunes and just arranging them for orchestra. They were really going deep, like really understanding the essence of what made this music tick and then using those elements to build these incredible large-scale
It's
compositions.
like they were like taking the DNA of their culture
Yeah.
and weaving it into these symphonies, operas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to think about the historical context here. This is the 19th century, right? Nationalism is on the rise.
Hmm.
It's this huge surge of pride, this desire for self-expression, and remember, this is also the Romantic era. So emotions are running super high, revolutions are kind of brewing everywhere, and artists are searching for ways to kind of capture that spirit, that national spirit.
Okay. Okay. So they're capturing the national spirit. But how are they actually doing this? I mean, we know they were using folk melodies. We know they were using rhythms. But like, what about the specifics? What are the nuts and bolts here?
Well, I think a really great example is Bartok, right?
Mm.
So he was obsessed with Hungarian folk dances,
Mm.
specifically this one called the verbunkos. Have you heard of that?
I can't say that I have.
Okay. So it's got these asymmetrical patterns. It's got this driving energy. And, he didn't just quote these dances in his music. He, like, deconstructed them, analyzed them. Like, he took those rhythmic building blocks and then he incorporated them into his own, crazy complex string quartets. So he was really taking this raw folk energy and distilling it into this completely new form.
Yeah, and that's really what made his music sound so distinctly Hungarian.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But it's not just about, like, capturing that national sound. It's about evoking a sense of place, this feeling of belonging. Now, we can even look at Smetana, right, with
Mhm.
Vltava, this beautiful piece. But is it too literal in its depiction of a river? Is it too on the nose? Does
Interesting.
that take away from a larger, more universal kind of message?
That's a great point. And what about the Russians?
Yeah.
Like Tchaikovsky, Mussorgsky. I mean, their music, it just feels so powerful, so distinct. How did they approach this whole thing?
Well, they were really masters at incorporating all those unique qualities you find in Russian folk music, like the modal scales and those harmonies that kind of remind you of ancient Russian church
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
Mussorgsky in particular, he really used these elements to create this sound that was both like hauntingly beautiful
Hmm.
and distinctly Russian. Like you hear this in pieces like Boris Godunov, where he creates this just incredible atmosphere, this drama, this grandeur.
Because you can hear the vastness of Russia
Yeah.
in his music. So what about Grieg then? He's Norwegian, right?
Mhm.
His music often feels very connected to nature.
Oh, absolutely. Grieg's music is just completely infused with the sounds of that Norwegian landscape. I mean, just
Mm.
picture it, those sweeping fjords, the towering mountains, and you can just hear it all in his music. And the use of folk fiddles, those open harmonies, those evocative melodies. It's just like he's painting a sonic picture of a place,
Yeah.
of a feeling, an entire culture.
And that brings us to, I think, to the challenge that a lot of these composers faced, balancing tradition with innovation. How do you stay true to your roots while still pushing the boundaries of music forward?
Yeah, it's a tightrope walk for sure. Like, look at Sibelius. He was hugely influenced by Finnish folklore and the Kalevala. Do you know the Kalevala?
Refresh my memory.
Right, so it's their national epic poem. But he wasn't content with just, quoting folk tunes. He took all those raw materials and like forged them into something totally new. These grand sweeping symphonies with these incredible, almost cinematic orchestral
So he
textures.
took something deeply Finnish and made it innovative.
Exactly. And out of this whole wave of nationalism came all these national schools of music. You got the Russian school, the Czech school, the Nordic school. And these schools, they didn't exist in a vacuum. They influenced each other. They borrowed ideas, and they ultimately helped to shape, the whole landscape of 20th century music.
That's incredible. It's like they took something as simple as folk music
Mm.
and turned it into this powerful force for self-expression
Mm.
and innovation.
Yeah, and it's important to remember too that even within a single country, you have all these amazing regional variations in folk music. I mean, think about the music of Eastern Europe. A lot of it has this, melancholic and modal feel to it,
Yeah.
which is so different from, let's say, the more major key dance-like music of Western Europe. And all these differences add this whole other layer of richness and complexity to this whole idea of, musical nationalism.
So to wrap things up, we've seen how all of these composers used folk music as a springboard, right?
Yeah.
To create these really rich and distinct musical identities. And it makes me wonder, did their music, did it simply reflect existing national identities?
Yeah.
Or did it actually in some way help shape those very identities? I don't know.
It's a fascinating question. And as you kind of like explore the music of these composers, maybe think about how it makes you feel about your own cultural identity,
Yeah,
Music has this incredible power to connect us to our roots and to the wider world.
absolutely. All right. Well, until next time.
See you then.